If you've seen my Steam Next Fest video from back in February, then you'll know that Metro Gravity was among the demos I played, and I actually had some rather positive things to say about it. But now, the full release is here, and I've had a bit of time to sit on it. And Steph has had some time to sit on something else. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Metro Gravity advertises itself on Steam as a Metroidvania rhythm-based 3D platformer. I just wanted to preface, the word Metroidvania gave me a bit of a initially. I'm not the biggest fan of the genre because I think backtracking as a game mechanic feels a bit stupid. However, despite this, I actually completed the true ending of Animal Well without looking anything up. Okay, I'm lying. I got like 59 eggs, then I got drunk on Mother's Day and looked up the rest of the puzzles. I feel like a shell of a man these days. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Metro Gravity starts with some cryptic messages about something or another before we meet our main character, Stephanie. You stumble around some catacombs with an upside down tree and a waterfall that's displaying properties unlike a waterfall. After throwing yourself from the waterfall, Stephanie discovers the miraculous ability to check if the player has motion sickness in record time. Which I don't. Sorry if you do. Here's a letter from me. All jokes aside, the main draw of Metro Gravity is Stephanie's uncanny ability to manipulate gravity. Throughout the game, you'll use these powers to traverse the environment, solve puzzles, and defeat enemies. I've never played Gravity Rush, so thankfully my thoughts will be more than Gravity Rush cool, so this is too. I'm honestly just impressed at how seamless the gravity walking feels. You walk off the side of a structure and you'll find yourself immediately clinging to the wall below. Even as you experiment with more extreme geometry, I never really noticed a moment where the game couldn't handle a maneuver that I was throwing at it. Kudos, Marco. Very good. As you continue meandering through this kaleidoscope of bipolar body pullers, you stumble upon a couple friends, aptly named Coltrane and a woman with a French name. You kind of find out everyone here, yourself included, is trapped in a place called the Halls after clicking on a sketchy hyperlink. That's the end of the sentence. It's all pretty mysterious. After getting to know you for about 6 seconds, they decide to give you tools to traverse the halls, including an amulet that allows you to force gravity in a certain direction, and a keychain that can conjure weapons at will, which enables you to, and you guessed it, say it with me now, bludgeon mysterious creatures to death as I see fit. There we go, that's right. We'll talk about the gravity amulet later, but let's hone in on the bludgeoning part for a bit. A good umbrella term to describe Metro Gravity's combat would be rhythm. Each area has a unique song that plays as you move through, and it isn't there just for show. It has a pervasive presence throughout the entire world. Most things in the world, if possible, will attempt to synchronize with the music, such as this. I like this one because it makes my brain tingle. Eventually, through exploration, you gain the ability to parry through the use of a pocket mirror, and the timing of these parries are based on the music of the environment you're in. These golems have a slow build-up to match the heavy bass hits. Each color of mushroom has their attack offset with each other to match the melody. These pinwheel-style enemies challenge you to change your tempo as the song crescendos to defeat them and unlock the door. And I'm using random music terms, hopefully you didn't realize. I'm pretty sure 100% of enemy encounters are based on rhythm mechanics, and they will all incorporate the parry mechanics when you unlock them. You can try to do some of these fights without parrying, but you'll die, so you should probably parry. Now, shifting gears from a pretty cool obstacle to deal with, let's talk about the other one, puzzles. If I'm being honest, I'm usually pretty disappointed by games that try to incorporate puzzles, but aren't pure-blood puzzle games. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes has plenty of fun information cross-referencing. Baba is You has tons of wacky programmer logic, and Blueprints has puzzles I can't even begin to understand. But the main thing I adore about puzzle games is consistency. A high percentage of puzzles in these games play off of each other beautifully, interweaving game mechanics using tasks to increase difficulty and help the player grow, acting as a well-constructed staircase to transform someone from Goo Goo Gaga Baby to Galaxy Brain Overlord and Slaver of all mankind. Let's say these games had a puzzle consistency rating around here, right? If that's the case, Metro Gravity sits like here. Yeah, so there's this puzzle in the early game which serves as a barrier to the third area of the game. It tasks the player with moving a cube of water around various obstacles using the gravity amulet, and in some cases you even need to change the gravity of the cube whilst it is already moving in one direction. In a previous area, the game already tasked you with doing something similar on a smaller scale on a few different boxes. Very cool, builds on fundamentals, juicy reward, it's overall fun time. Now, there's a puzzle later in the game where you need to direct electricity from a battery to this cube by attaching these conductive strings to it. But the caveat is that the box can't be touching either of these bookshelves. Okay, so this puzzle felt like it belonged in a totally different video game. I remember not even knowing what I was doing as I worked through this puzzle. I felt like I was in a sandbox just farting around with physics mechanics until something finally worked. And this is what did it. Another game in the Unreal Engine trash can. But finally, at some point in your journey, you'll find yourself encountering your first boss, and man, it's pretty fun. I distinctly remember how vivid of an ass beating he was handing me while I was attempting to learn his moveset. At first I thought, yeah, it's cool, but it probably won't be much more than this. Then suddenly you get fucking hurled through the floor and end up in a whole different arena. And suddenly he's throwing taxis? He's throwing taxis. The music is ramping. I was not very good at dodging taxis. And you think, okay, we're probably done. Takes you to another room, throwing saw blades on the walls, forcing you to place gravity field to avoid them. I was not very good, but eventually after like 30 attempts, I beat him to a pulp. And that, my friends, is the strongest aspect of the entire game. My only gripe is that the Doctor is quite simply the hardest boss in the entire game. Not necessarily due to how sane they are, because trust me, they do get more insane. The problem is pretty much every encounter boils down to you parrying and doing something with the latest item you have in your inventory. So you're basically 50% prepped for the fight from the get-go. And unless you turn up this very useful timing indicator, learning the boss's patterns was more of a non-issue than anything. But still, the bosses were very fun. If I had to, I don't know, summarize how much each mechanic is present in the game, it would probably look something like this. Now, if you ask how much I wish it would look like this. As I literally just said, the bosses are the highlight of the game, but they also had a reverse effect on my experience with the game. The more I played the game, and the more bosses I defeated, I slowly felt a feeling of disdain, or walking. I got a few things to say about this game's world. Thematically, it's amazing. Visually, it's gorgeous. Navigationally, what? Back on the topic of gravity, if you, yes you, had the ability to manipulate gravity, you would probably like to be able to move around a big, open, expansive place. And likewise, that's where the gravity mechanics shine. You can place a gravity field across the world and fling yourself great distances. You gain a grappling hook and can throw yourself around to your heart's content. Places like these are when I loved engaging with the mechanics. However, for some reason, the game insists on having tight, narrow, constricting rooms and corridors that both disorient and discourage me from playing. There's barely any in-between for these types of areas, so you end up with one of them taking the majority vote. Want to guess which is which? Wow, looks like we don't have footage of the result. I guess we're both getting left dissatisfied. Overall, Metro Gravity is a great outlier against the backdrop of indie Metroidvanias. It has a few pitfalls I think need ironing out, but I feel big man Marco has my back when he eventually makes Metro Gravity 2 off the beach. Plugging this bad boy into the moist meter, I'm giving Metro Gravity nothing. You thought we give game scores on this channel? You thought we give game scores on this?
That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!